Welcome to the Be Smart About Art podcast, delivered by yours truly at Susan J. Mumford. This episode recounts a family story of my own that provides you an easy tool to use in challenging moments. When you feel you've bitten off more than you can chew, and the like. The story is called Have a Clear Reference Point to Harness in Dark Moments. Enjoy. From time to time, I visit San Angelo in West Texas to visit relatives. This is the place that one great-grandfather, known as Granddaddy Johnson, for that's what my father called him, settled after leaving the family farm in Tennessee. The American Civil War of the 1860s had resulted in the family property and more being decimated. In my own years out in the world, forging my own path, I found it immensely helpful and grounding to recall the story of this 19th century American who is a quintessential example of the Go West young man movement. In April 2006, I'd taken the lease to a rooftop gallery in Soho, London, surrounded by the backs of buildings and the four surrounding blocks that had my building plonked in the middle. I found myself exhausted, on my hands and knees literally one evening, varnishing the floor brushstroke by brushstroke. I broke down into tears on that old, dirty wooden floor that had been worn down over the decades. I asked myself, what had I got myself into by committing to premises in central London? Was I ready for this? Could I do it? Then I remembered Granddaddy Johnson. Back in the 1870s, he took the train out to what might have seemed like the middle of nowhere in West Texas and ultimately established himself, alongside his big brother who he'd followed, as one of the foremost businessmen at the then frontier edge. After leaving Western Tennessee, he reportedly stated that he would never slap the backside of a mule again. Today one can visit the restored site, which is on the Register of Historic Places, of one of his many achievements. That was the fancy grocers Johnson and Taylor. That's not to mention the livery stable, a stage line, mercantile business, a banking enterprise, real estate agency, and, at one time, even the role of being deputy sheriff. In comparison with the challenges he'd confronted, I reminded myself, on what grounds could I justifiably be overcome by the trials and tribulations that I was facing in 21st century Britain? After that early spring evening varnishing the floor, I learned to consciously take hold of such difficult moments. I trained myself to take stock, think about the positives, and put the situation into perspective, always in the context of the inspirational Granddaddy Johnson, who had started with nothing and achieved so much. I suggest that you too work out a clear reference point from your own life to harness in dark moments. Have a think about the inspirational stories of your family, your friends, and your peers, and store those in your mind so that you can reflect on them in moments of need. Reference points will help you to maintain control over the state of mind, which will be fundamental in picking yourself up and thus continuing to take the steps forward in your career and projects. It might even help you to finish every single brushstroke along that floor. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for future episodes and browse previous editions. At Be Smart About Art, we're here to help you thrive in a changing industry. Art is your life. Make it your living.